So let's start with the example that we looked at earlier. We have this parts function we wrote where it's given a string and it's going through that string one character at a time via the for statement and printing each character one above the other. And so just a quick run of what we currently have. I've loaded it. We'll type parts. And in quotation marks, I'm going to put my name. And we end up with DAVID vertically. So let's see what it takes to change this program so that it prints just the vowels in any string we give it. So in this case, we are only wanting it to print the A and the I. The D, V, and D should not print. So first of all, let's keep the name descriptive. So let's type this just vowels. Keep the name of the function descriptive. We still can make use of the for statement because we still need it to go through and pull each individual letter. But then what function or what command do we have that we can use to make a decision? And the answer, of course, is the if statement. So it's if something is true, and then on the next line we say what we want to do if it's true. So we could say if letter, remember letter is the variable that's going to contain one character at a time coming from our string. So if letter, and we can use the in command. We could use an equal and check for the various vowels, but in this case makes it a little easier. We can say if letter in, and then I'm going to say A, E, I, O, and U. And we'll put a colon at the end because the if statement needs a colon, just like the for statement, and the def statement needs a colon. But if I were to try running this right now, it would complain that AEIOU doesn't exist. It doesn't have a value because it would be trying to interpret that as a variable name. So to make it a string, we need to put quotes around it. So now we have if letter in this string. If that's true, we want it to print. But right now, the print statement is in line with the if. If we want it to only do that if the if statement is true, we need to indent this print statement. So it's inside the if statement. So we give the function a string. Via the for statement, it goes through that string one character at a time, placing each character into letter. We check that letter to see if it's one of the characters in this string. If it is, then we print letter. Let's try running it and see what happens. Load it up, press the up arrow key to run the same thing, and we got an error. So let's check out our error over here. And we can read the error in the shell. It's saying that parts is not defined. I tried to run parts because that's what I ran the first time, but remember we changed the name of the function to just vowels. And I'm realizing I actually spelled vowels wrong. So let's go ahead and correct that before we load and run it again. So I'll run it again. And since parts no longer exists, I need to use just vowels because that is now the name of our function. And we'll still give it the string. And this time we got the A and the I. As we were hoping for. So what if we wanted everything except vowels? In other words, what if given David we wanted to print DVD? Well, we can actually put the word not in front of in. So we'll say if letter not in that string, then print. Let's try that. Yes, that works. Let's say that if it is a vowel, I'm going to take the not back out here. If it is a vowel, we want it to print the letter. If it's not a vowel, so I'm going to say else. That allows us to say what to do when it's false. Let's just simply print the character X. We need print, parenthesis, quote, X, quote, parenthesis. So now, for every character in our original string, it's going to do one of two things. It's either going to print the original character if it's a vowel, or it's going to print a character X if it's not a vowel. Let's see what that does. And we'll load it and come down here, and there we got X, A, X, I, X. So that's what we were hoping for and expecting. So let's try it with a different word rather than David. Let's put in apple. Did we get the output we expected? I got XXXXE, but A is a vowel, isn't it? The issue here is that when we used our if statement to say if letter N, A, E, I, O, U, we only ask if it was a lowercase A, E, I, O, or U. And in this case, our input is a capital A, and a capital A is different than a lowercase a. We as humans may think about them both being an A, but the computer has different numeric codes for those behind the scenes, and so they compare as different things. So we've got a couple ways we can solve this. We could come up here to our string in our if statement and add in the capital letters A, E, I, O, U. But there's another function that we've been learning about. Remember the dot lower and dot upper? Let's make use of that. Since I already have the vowels typed as lowercase letters, I'm going to come to the letter variable, and right after it put a dot and type lower parentheses. So we're applying the lower method to the variable letter. And remember, that doesn't actually change the value of the variable, but it changes, in a sense, a copy of the value. And what it gives us back is the changed copy. So we're saying if the lowercase version of the character is in here, print letter, otherwise print X. So remember, lower doesn't actually change the value of letter, so what we would expect to get is a capital A if we give it a capital A, but it should print the A because it will have temporarily converted it to the lowercase, and that would be in the A, E, I, or U. So I'm going to hit the run button again, so we've got the code transferred to the shell. Press up arrow a couple times, and there we go with a capital A, XXX, lowercase e. The PPL are consonants, they're not vowels, so it printed X's, but we do have the capital A and the E. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of experience with an if statement and the else, so the if true, else false part. We also took a look at using the method to change the case of the characters. We'll see you in class.